Let's get into today's video without further ado.
Away with if you're attractive is literally so insane, and everyone talks about women pretty privilege, but no one ever talks about guy pretty privilege.
I always appreciate it when women understand the different ways that they treat different types of men. Guy pretty privilege is another word for hypergamy. So first of all, I'd like to thank her for noticing. And second of all, I have a few stories for you to try to encourage you to maybe move up a few notches if possible. But first, listen to how she understands. It's therapeutic.
I think if the unattractive guys tried to do the things that attractive guys did to girls, they would be called out for harassment.
Yeah, exactly. This girl from an old video said, don't catcall me unless you're attractive, and then she said it was a joke, which means it's kinda true.
But if an attractive guy did what unattractive guys did, it would be considered cute.
This is where my stories come in. I did some not very cute things that went over just fine.
I feel like attractive guys have kind of like a act like an asshole card that they could use whenever they want because they have a pretty face, and they have unlimited ways on how to hit on women without being a creep.
Yeah, you can say quite a wide range of things, and it will be okay.
I will say this for the most part, yeah. The guy pretty privilege that she's speaking of, it allows you to kind of like a leeway of sorts to be able to speak to women in a certain like you can say some pretty crass things and they won't necessarily be offended by it. But there's also that kind of like you're kind of teeter-tottering because you don't know if she's attracted to you. You don't know if you're her type. Okay, so you're kind of teeter-tottering on that part, which I mean, play at your own risk. But personally, for me, I think the idea of like cold approaching women and just like, hey, today is a Thursday, I'm going to go to the park and talk to as many girls as possible. That is very loser behavior. Okay, that is really loser behavior. You should be doing things in life, following your purpose and doing things that is supposed to elevate you and going to places or like being in places that you need to be at, whether it's networking or just out there, just blowing out some steam. You're going, you know what I mean? You're doing these things that are part of like your routine. And then in turn is where you meet beautiful women. Okay, you don't go out and say we're going to the park today, see if we can cold approach 20 different shorties, bro. That's weird. All right, you might as well just become like a serial. I'm just saying.
Okay, but only as long as she feels like this about you. This is a drawing of me when I was at my most attractive and a relationship that I had during that time where I did nothing and she did more than she should have. This is a timeline of that relationship. I had a crush on this girl when I was 11, and she pretty much ignored me until after college when I lost weight and got in shape. And she sent me a suggestive message on Facebook where she saw my pictures, and we began a certain kind of relationship. And eventually, she let me know that she had been cheating on a different guy with me. And I said, that's a bad idea. You should probably either have a boyfriend or have fun, and you should.
Red flag instantaneously. Like red flag. She is cheating on her boyfriend with you. That means coming from somebody who has been in many relationship situations like this. I wouldn't call them relationships. There's situations where the girl is blatantly cheating on her boyfriend with you. So now, do you think this lady who is cheating on her boyfriend with you, do you think by any stretch of the imagination she's going to be loyal to you? That's a lie. That's a lie. Don't lie to yourself. That's something. Listen, let's not start off this conversation by lying. Let's stay true. You found her cheating. She's gonna end up cheating. Okay. Humans are creatures of habit. Don't get it twisted, dog.
Pick one, and so she did. She got rid of him and said, now we can be together.
Oh,
And I
God.
said, well, that's not part of the deal. This guy's just going to be me later. And she said, oh, darn, and continued seeing me anyway. And also, I had no money and she had money, so she paid for everything while I continued to see other girls on the side.
Ah, well done, sir. Unfortunately, because she has more money than he does, what's going to end up happening is he's on a time clock. Eventually, she's going to be fed up that she's the breadwinner of sorts and having to front up so much money and pretty much piggybacking him throughout this entire relationship. So this relationship on itself is on a time clock, but he was smart enough to have other shorties on the side whilst this was going on. And just fun fact, whilst is one of my favorite words. Okay.
That's how much difference this can make. If you can cross this line, you're going to experience quite a big power differential.
Unattractive guys have to be more slow about it. They have to be more nonchalant and sneaky about hitting on a girl.
Sneaky, okay, we used to call that getting to know someone. When you're familiar with somebody, it becomes easier to create that bond. And maybe you as an individual can work your way out of it, but you can't have everyone works their way out of it, because if they did, and everybody became more attractive, women would just reevaluate this into another one of these. There would be 80% of the guys who made it would be reevaluated into the didn't make it zone. And those guys have no choice. They have to get familiar with women first. Otherwise, they just get completely left out. And that's why the world is looking more and more like this. People don't get to know each other anymore. And if you try, women will call it sneaky. That's the one.
Yeah, but this is the problem with women nowadays themselves too. The amount of brain rot that is happening through social media and like especially apps like TikTok. Because if you really look at it, the modern woman will go to work. She's already on her phone, distracted at work, probably watching a couple TikToks. On her lunch break, TikTok. At home when she gets home to decompress, TikTok. So the amount of time that they're literally wasting being on TikTok, and let's not even get into the whole entire concept and psychology behind the idea of the scroll, the idea of how this motion, you're kind of, it's an idea of the self-pleasure motion, but let's not get into that and the dopamine and how it affects your brain psychologically and how you can literally spend 6 hours on TikTok. I could, if I ever catch myself or I ever tell you a story where I spent 6 hours on TikTok, please ban me on everything.
One thing she said that I didn't like.
They also can't be arrogant and rude, where a lot of attractive guys get away with being rude.
Oh, sorry, I never actually finished my point about the whole TikTok thing. Yeah, getting to know somebody is not a bad thing. I prefer to get to know the people that I want to be in relationship with. I don't want to just get with somebody just like that. And if I do get with you just like that, like if we are like hanging out and I've been able to manage to like sleep with girls on the first night, if that does happen, that's not a bad thing. I don't necessarily declare you like a red flag, but I will say that depending on how it goes, either way, I still like to get to know the people that I'm with, because it's important. Like, you don't want to be spending time with somebody you have no idea who they are, what they do. You might as well be spending time with a ghost, dude. Casper, dog.
That's me. I used to be rude. I was so bitter after I found out the difference between how people treat you when you move from here to here that I actually made a game out of what is the rudest thing that I can say to someone who I know already likes me before she doesn't like me anymore, and I never found it. I wrote a few of them down, but I don't feel safe showing you. I played other games too. I once met a girl on the computer. I went to her place 3 times without ever telling her my name. And then on my way out the door the 3rd time, I said, "Are you going to ever ask me my name or what?" And she said, "I didn't want to offend you." Like I was going to say, "Whoa, you're moving a little fast, aren't we?" No, I'm not encouraging any of this behavior. This is degenerate. The only reason I did it is because I was bitter, because I couldn't be liked without being likable. I didn't want to put in the work to get out of this area, and when I finally did, I still felt like this on the inside, and I said, "Oh, now it's my turn to do this to someone else." And
That's never a good idea. This is like, depending on how many other valid points you guys make in the video, I will say this. Yes, there's a one time I went to this party in Montreal and I was like, I just wanted to test it out because I was like, I just don't know where the whole idea of the concept came from, but I just wanted to test it out, like, or just being mean to, like, being a full-on dick to women. I wanted to see really if I could really get a girl by just being a complete dick to her. And to the other party, there was like 3 different girls I was speaking to, and I was completely obliterating them, dude. There was nothing they could say that had a positive comment back to it. Everything they said, I just give a snarky, backhanded remark, or I would completely just make fun of them, completely just disrespect them. Like, I treated them absolutely like you would treat like a worst enemy. You know what I mean? And guess what? Throughout the whole night, dude, they only got more and more interested in me, dude. Like, they only were they liked me more and more as the night progressed on, which I thought to be actually very strange. I was like, okay, this is very weird. Like, this is not me. And I will tell you right now, I hated it. I hated it. I hated the things I was saying. I hated the way I was behaving. I just hated it because it was completely 180 from who I am. Normally, I'm not like that. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm a nice guy. Not necessarily, dude. I'm a dick still, but I would prefer to speak to girls in a very, like, flattering way versus, like, completely obliterating her, dude. Like, nah, bro. It didn't feel good, but the fact that this experiment worked, I was like, damn. I guess this is the way the modern woman likes to be talked to, because if you are nice and you are the type of person that's like opening the door for them or giving them flowers, they actually don't like that. That's when they will run to the group chat and completely destroy you for being chivalrous. They destroyed chivalry by themselves, dude. Like, think about that. The person who's nice actually is trying to respect them, they don't like that. They like the person who completely disrespects them because it shows that you are above them. It shows that you're not putting them on a pedestal. And that's why the fuck boys always win, dog. But I'm not saying I like being a fuckboy. I'm not saying that. That is completely not the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make is that it's sad to see that in our modern dating landscape, this is what they resonate with.
Not what we need more of. That kind of stuff just goes back into the dating pool and makes everybody more miserable and harder to deal with.
Now, the difference between an attractive guy and an attractive girl is like so different. An attractive girl, sometimes like they don't get guys. They get rejected because people get jealous of them or they're really intimidated or they're jealous. And it's just really hard to be an attractive girl. But for an attractive guy, literally it's like living on the red carpet with silver platters of opportunities handed to you constantly.
Well, not job opportunities. This was roughly my attractive era from here to here, and this was my net worth. And then I had nothing, and now I have internet money. But yeah, she's not wrong. This is an easier position in the market than this. It's easier to get what you want. Now, I wish we could get away from this app style of dating and back to the classics, but I don't know how we're going to do that. This might even get worse. At least people are starting to get it. But for now, if you are not working on yourself, you are potentially giving up a lot of power. Just don't misuse it when you get it, or you'll eventually turn into me, but without the internet money.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. I'll catch you in the next one. Shabba